The film opens with a man named Lee Man, who used to live in Bangkok City with his friend. Both of them are painters. They used to make paintings very well. Yuen used to make very good paintings by using her brain, but Lee was even faster than her. He used to copy every famous painter. His mind was very good in these works. After seeing any painting, he used to make a painting like that. Although his paintings did not get a part in the exhibition, because everyone used to say that his paintings are copies of someone else's. One day, when he goes home in the evening, he hears the words of Yuen and her manager, where the manager tells Yuen that if you want to be successful, then you should stop working with Lee, because everyone knows about him, that he makes copies of paintings. But she replies that I can't stop working with Lee. If you want to go, then go. One day, their paintings get a part in the exhibition, where people like Yuen's paintings a lot, but no one likes Lee's paintings. Then a man comes there who insults Lee's paintings a lot. He says, "What kind of paintings are these? These are all made by copying." Yuen gets very angry at this. She pours alcohol on that man and throws him out. Then Lee immediately goes after that man, so that he can apologize to him for Yuen's behavior. After going to him, he finds out that that man did all this on purpose. He wanted to meet Lee alone. The man tells Lee that the way you work, the method of your work, the way you copy the paintings, you are an expert in your work. I know your talent very well. Then they meet in a bar and talk while drinking alcohol. That man tells him that I like the way you copy, and you know that your fate can change because of this skill of yours. I have a very good job for you. After all the talks, Lee goes back to the same place, where his paintings were put up for display. He goes there and burns the painting that was insulted. Lee was very happy with his work. After doing all this, he calls the same man who deliberately insulted Lee's painting. He meets him and says that I am ready to work with you, and tell me what kind of paintings I will have to make. That man gives Lee a $100 note and tells him to make its copy. Here Lee finds out that that man wanted to make a lot of fake notes from him so that no one can recognize those notes. He says that we can't print so many fake notes. That's why I can be successful by using your talent. I want to make you a part of my team in this work. After hearing this, Lee gets a little worried because this work was illegal. But when he thinks that after all this, he is going to play with a lot of money, so he agrees to do this work. After all this talk, when Lee goes back to his house, he sees that Yuen had also left the house because Yuen had to pay for the painting that Lee had burnt. In the next scene, we see that Lee is on a private plane with that man. They were going to another city. Lee tells that man that I will come back only when I earn a lot of money. I will go to Yuen only then. In that plane, that man had other companions with him who will print and sell fake notes. The most important thing here was to print the notes, even if they had a good printer. Still, they could not print the narrow lines in the notes properly. So here comes the work of Lee, who could also copy every narrow line. And the second thing was the use of such a paper on which no one could easily scratch. The speciality of that paper would be that whenever it was written with a blue ink pen, then it also transformed that ink into a yellow hue. And in the same way, the people working in the bank also separate the fake notes. Now that man had also got that paper, on which he had to make fake notes. Now Lee's work starts here. For many days, he is busy making copies of fake notes. He makes small things on the notes very well. Lee does not even leave a line. Making a picture on the note and then seeing that picture across was a very difficult task. They all use the Chinese method for this work here. They put the painting made of the note in the middle of a machine. They put two papers around it as they wanted. Their work becomes exactly like that. The next task was to print the note. A man from that man's team prints the minuteness of those notes very well with his skill. They see that all their work was going on perfectly. They have passed every test. They had also found the paper on which they had to print the notes. They go to a company where that company used the same paper. The size of the note was just right for printing. That's why that man buys a lot of papers. Here, no one could doubt them. That's why they all say that their company works to print books. 449. That's why they want to buy this paper. Now that paper also reaches them. They had made a lot of fake notes. They start their work through a scrap shop, and they deliver fake notes to many of their customers. For 6 months, Lee does business with that man who prints fake notes. Now he had become Lee's boss. After that, Lee comes back to his city and goes to his friend Yuen's house because he had something of her that he had gone to return. He does not meet Yuen there. He keeps that thing and comes back. Seeing all this, The man tells Lee that you are a coward. You got scared of a girl. Look at my courage. To show his courage, he shoots the police officer there. He tells Lee to shoot, but he was scared. That's why he didn't shoot, because of fear. But that man killed all the policemen. But whatever was happening in front of Lee's eyes, he was very upset because of this. Lee now started thinking that his boss is such a crazy person who can kill anyone for no reason. He thinks that he just wanted to work with him. Lee was very upset about all this. After this, we see another man in the story who is a police officer who used to investigate fake notes. That officer was called because the police had come to know that many fake notes are being printed in the city for the past few days. That officer meets the biggest officer in the city to find out about all this. Both of them hide their real identity. They go on a mission to find fake notes. After meeting a lot of people, they finally get a chance to meet that man with whom Lee used to work, that is, Lee's boss. Both of them reach the ship where they were going to meet him, but he was not there. In fact, Lee's boss's men were there. They investigate them a lot to know both the officers, but they don't know their truth. That's why Lee's boss's men trust them and include them in their team. On the other hand, Lee goes to his boss, and he says, "Sorry, I can't work with you anymore. I am leaving your team, and I will soon find a man for you who will work with you, and will also make paintings." Lee's boss agrees to this and says, "Okay, if you want to go, you can go." A lot of time had passed like this. We see that Lee's boss's men have spread all over the world and are doing a job of spreading fake notes. They were earning a lot of money from this work. And at the same time, the demand for their notes was also increasing. A don of the city also wanted to buy fake notes. That's why he calls Lee's boss, so that he can buy fake notes from him. But we find out one more thing here, that a long time ago, Don had killed Lee's boss's dad. Lee's boss had come here to give fake notes to Don, but he also wanted to kill him. He had come to avenge his dad's death. That's why he also brings Lee with him here and says that the bomb in your jacket exploded. But the poor scared Lee refuses to do this. But after a while, there was a big explosion outside, in the car. That's when the bullets also start burning there. In this explosion, Don and all his men were killed. But a girl survives in this explosion who used to work with Don. She used to tell Don whether the notes were real or fake. That girl also started working with Lee and his boss. In this way, Lee also becomes very good friends with that girl. Lee's boss spends a lot of time working. Now those people take a long break from their work. That is, those people had stopped their work for a while. Lee had come back to his city with his boss again. He goes to Yuen's house. He sees that Yuen had become a very famous painter and artist. She had sold more than 1,000 of her paintings. But when Lee finds out that Yuen has to get engaged, and she is going to get married very soon, he is very sad. His boss says that if you like Yuen so much, then you will have to fight for her. You tell her how much you like her. After saying all this, the boss takes Lee with him, where they had to meet on the ship. Not only that, the boss had also found out about that officer. He was conducting a covert investigation by becoming a part of his team. Lee's boss finds out one more thing here, that the police are after them for this reason, because one of the men in their team had broken the rule, who used to print notes. He had bought a watch from a fake note, and because of that, the police were after them. Lee's boss catches that man, and also says that you and your family will have to die now, because we are all in trouble because of you. You have broken the rules of our work. That man begs a lot. Don't kill him, leave him. Here Lee also tries to save that man. But the boss also pushes him. The boss kills him. Lee's boss meets that officer, who was secretly investigating them. But that officer did not know that they have found out all his truth. Boss calls Lee there and says that you have to kill this officer. Lee was very scared. His boss, to end Lee's fear, kidnaps Yuen and her fiancé. He gives the gun to Lee and says that these two have hurt you a lot. Kill them. I know you will do this because you hate them a lot. But Lee refuses to shoot this time too. But this time his boss was very angry. Lee's boss shoots Yuen in anger. But here Lee had saved Yuen, but her fiancé is killed. Here the girl who was with the Don saves Lee, because she knew that the boss will kill Lee now, so here she shoots everyone. In this fight, Lee's boss's all men died, and in the end, Lee also shoots his boss and kills him. Now from here, that girl takes Lee to a hotel. They both were very scared when they came here, because they felt that the boss is still alive. Because the police had not yet found his dead body, Lee wanted to go back to Yuen from here to see if she is okay or not. But that girl stops Lee from going. She says, "Don't go, your life can be in danger." But Lee does not stop and he goes. On the way, Lee made a mistake. He uses a fake note. Because of this, the police also caught him. He is taken to the police station where the police interrogate him. But Lee does not tell them anything, because he was very scared. He knew that if he tells anything to the police about his boss, then his boss will kill him. That's why Lee does not tell anything to the police. A few days later, Yuen comes to meet Lee. She also tells him to tell the truth, and she also promises him that she will take him away from here. Here, one thing is decided between the police and Lee, that if he tells everything to the police, then the police will leave him. Lee decides that he will tell the truth to the police. He now tells about his old life here. How did he meet his boss? How did they make fake notes? And how did he see a man dying for the first time? He tells everything about his boss. He had also made a picture of him and also of that girl who used to work for Don. The police search them everywhere, and they start looking for them. The police officer was looking for Lee's boss. That's when he sees a similar-looking man was wearing a police uniform. That's when the police caught him. But after investigating, it turns out that that man was working for the police for a long time. So how can he be Lee's boss? But exactly the man who looked like this police officer was Lee's boss. And here we come to know the real secret of this story. Lee and his boss were both the same man. That is, Lee had made a story of such a person in his mind, who used to have the business of making fake notes, so that he could never face such a truth, that he is a bad person. Lee was doing the business of making fake notes. He presented himself as a very nice person in front of everyone. That is, whenever the boss did something wrong in the story, it was no one else. In fact, Lee used to do it. He was killing everyone so far. Here's another surprising thing revealed. When Yuen came to release Lee from jail, and she also told Lee to tell the truth, that girl was not Yuen, but the girl who worked with Don liked Lee a lot. But when the explosion happened in Don's house, that girl's face was damaged. That's why she got her facial surgery and made her face look like Yuen's. And that's why she came to jail, just to save Lee. After that present, that is, we see Lee and the same girl at the present time, whose face was now like Yuen's. She was spending her life as Yuen. When the girl asks him, "Do you like me?" he says, "No, I only love the real Yuen." The next day, both of them were fleeing the city on the boat, so the police could never catch them. On the way here, the girl tells that I've been roaming the ship here for hours. We are still in this city. She says, "Lee, if you are not mine, then you are of no one. Then I will kill you and myself." Then the police also followed them and surrounded them here. But in their boat, there is an explosion here. In that explosion, Lee and the girl both died. In the end, we are shown that the police go to Yuen. When Yuen sees Lee's picture, she remembers that Lee was her neighbor. Here it is found. There was never any relationship between Lee and Yuen. Lee had made all the stories in his mind that he likes Yuen. He never had any relationship with Yuen. And with this, the movie story ends here. Finish.